This is a digital art gallery on the 7 art forms. The 7 art forms are drawing, painting, printmaking, sculpture 3D, ceramic, photo digital, and fiber textile. Our first artist is William Kentridge. His date of birth, April 28th, 1955. Kentridge is mainly known for his printing and drawing. In this case, Bird Close Up, from the collection of Other Faces, is a charcoal drawing created by using line and shading. These are some student examples of charcoal drawing. You can see how they have used line to create the reeds in the left picture and the background in the right picture. You can also see how they have used different kinds of shading to create the mountains and the clouds in the left picture and the monsters' mouths in the right picture and their shadows. The conceptual framework relates to how the artwork relates to the artist, audience, and world. The artwork by William Kentridge, Bird Close Up, is part of the Other Faces collection created in 2011. The artist, William Kentridge, is best known for his prints and drawings which he uses to make animated films. The role of the audience in this case is simply to view and appreciate his art. In relation to the world, the artist has avoided social issues until recently focused on the apartheid. Our second artist is John Olson, date of birth the 21st of January 1928. Olson was known for his painting of landscapes. In this image, the chapel 1966, you can see how Olson has used line and color to create a vibrant image of a chapel. These are some student examples of painting, and you can see on the left how the student has used line to create the outline and the spikes on the cactus, and then used color and blending to create what is seen around the cactus and inside the cactus. The conceptual framework in relation to John Olson's artwork. In the artwork, The Chapel 1966, the use of line and color creates a vibrant and colorful image. The artist is known for his primary subject of painting landscapes. Olson has been labeled as an abstract, but describes his work as an exploration of landscape. The art is meant to represent Australian culture through the way in which it is painted. Our third artist, Margaret Preston, alive from 1875 to 1963, was known for her printmaking. This case, the old Banksia tree, is done with contrasting colours to create a sharp and eye-catching image. Here is a student example, which was created by carving into styrofoam, painting the styrofoam, and then transferring that paint onto paper, then repainting the styrofoam in a different colour, transferring the paint onto the same paper to create the stilted effect that you see. In relation to the conceptual framework, the artwork The Old Banksia Tree, 1936, is of Australian flora. The artist Margaret Preston, her love for art began in her first art gallery upon walking in and seeing the artworks. She is known for her modernist work of mainly Australian flora and integrating Aboriginal motifs into contemporary art. The next art form is paper mache. This is an image of Norse created by Ellen Carlisle. Norse is an animal that has been paper macheed and then painted over. An example of how this could be used in the classroom is students could bring in what they want and then paper mache over the top of it and paint it. In this case, a yellow submarine has been created by using a Pepsi bottle and the Pepsi bottle's lid as the periscope. Students can bring in whatever they want and create whatever they want, any weird and wonderful creatures. Norse is a creature created by the paper mache artist from Belgium, Ellen Carlisle. She's creating all different kinds of animals from paper mache only. She draws inspiration from the world, creating rockets, planes, monsters, and animals. Our next art form is ceramics by Keith Schneider. These two artworks are sculptures of dogs that have been made by thrown and altered clay sculpting. That is when the clay is thrown on a wheel and then altered by adding or removing parts. These dogs are called Lucetta and Charlene. A student example of sculpting is seen here, in this pet rock, which was created by molding the clay into the shape of a rock and then scraping away at the clay underneath the eyes and then adding slurry to make sure that the eyes stick. The same was repeated for the irises. It was then painted and placed to dry. In relation to the conceptual framework, Lucetta and Charlene were created by sculpting. The artist, Keith Schneider, is a mixed media artist and educator. They were made via a method called thrown and altered, which is when they are thrown on a wheel and then altered by adding or removing extra parts. In relation to the world, these artworks give a sense of chaotic order. Our next art form is textiles, and the artist Annie Albers, alive from 1899 to 1994. Known for her textiles and weaving, as shown in this image, black, white and gold, made in 1950. A student example of textiles and weaving is shown here. This is called a plate weave. This is made by painting the plate, then cutting slits in the plate and running wool or string through the slits to create what looks like a spider's web. From that point, it is then weaved up and down over the web to create the weave that you see before you. In relation to the conceptual framework, the artwork Black, White and Gold 1 is a weave of colors and patterns. The artist, Annie Albers, is known for her textiles and printmaking and possibly the most popular textiles artist of the 20th century. The artworks are made through weaving to create patterns and lines for an audience to interpret in their own way, and the world vision of the artworks is to create vision through art. Our final artist is David Moore, alive from 1927 to 2003. David Moore was a photojournalist who would take photos of the Sydney skyline or large areas in Sydney, usually depicting one or two people in the scene. A series of poor working class and unemployed people in Redfern was included in a major 1955 exhibition. This image, lifting roof sections over Sydney, was taken by David Moore in 1967. An example of how you could use this in the classroom is have students take photos and then go into the program Photoshop and edit them to be black and white.